In December 2025, NIST released a preliminary draft of something called the Cybersecurity Framework Profile for Artificial Intelligence, or the Cyber AI Profile for short. Now, most security teams likely haven't opened it, or they heard about it and haven't passed it on. Look, that's a problem because this document will eventually be used to measure whether your organization has handled AI responsibly or not. And while NIST is building the framework side of this, the private sector isn't just simply around waiting. HITRUST just released their AI security assessment and certification. So today we're going to cover both, what the governance framework looks like and what the actual certification against it looks like in practice. I'm going to break down what it is, what it covers, and what you need to do with it. As we go through this series, we're going to get into the technical details, the strategy, all of it. But here's what I want you to keep in mind from the jump. Shadow AI has increased the attack surface in a way that's simply unprecedented, and it's only going to take a single exploitation of that to bring companies down to their knees. That's not hypothetical. It's not doom and gloom. That's simply where we are today. So now that we know kind of what it is, I want to work backwards and talk about what it's not. This is not a replacement for the NIST CSF 2.0. It's not a replacement for the risk management framework or the RMF. Think of it as an overlay. It's like a lens you put on top of your existing cybersecurity program that forces one question: have you actually accounted for AI? NIST built this to apply very broadly: large language models, generative AI, predictive analytics, recommendation engines, and agentic systems. They deliberately avoided a narrow definition of AI because, quite frankly, it changes every day. So if you're using AI in your organization in any form, any manner, and you are, believe me, this is going to apply to you. Now, it's non-binding today. And here's what non-binding actually means. Regulators, auditors, plaintiffs in court, they will eventually use this as a benchmark for what reasonable AI governance looks like. The original CSF was voluntary too, and well, look where that ended up. So let's get into what it actually covers. The profile organizes everything around 3 focus areas, and the goal across all 3 is managing AI-related cybersecurity opportunities and risk. I'm going to say that again because it's very important: opportunities and risk. This isn't just a defensive document. It's also about what makes AI possible for your security program. These 3 areas are securing AI system and components, protecting what you've built with AI. These are your models, your agents, your training data, your prompts. These are attack surfaces right now. Supply chain risk is beyond real. It's third-party models, open source tools, embedded APIs, and more. If you don't know what's in your AI stack, you simply can't secure it, and that's just the end of that conversation. Second one is defend, conducting AI-enabled cyber defense. Using AI as a tool for your own security operations, as threat detection, security operations centers, automated response, or SOARs. The question nobody's really answering yet: when AI makes the call on a threat response, who actually owns that decision? And by the way, almost all of your security tools have some form of AI baked in. You're just not governing it. The third one is thwart. These are about thwarting AI-enabled cyber attacks. Your adversaries are using AI too. This is AI-generated phishing, deepfakes, automated vulnerability discovery, AI-assisted malware, resilience. That's the most important conversation boards need to be having. Now, look, I know you're probably thinking, this sounds like the typical thing where there's so much to manage in a world that runs on speed right now and you can't slow down. And you're right. So we're going to break each one of these down in their own dedicated video. Today is simply the foundation. The details are going to come next. So now that we know what NIST is building or putting up in draft, let's come back to HITRUST and go a little bit deeper on why that matters. They took more than 24 frameworks, NIST, ISO, WASP, OWASP, and others, and they really put them into a single assessment built specifically for AI. There's 44 prescriptive controls, likely more to be added in the future, that are independently validated and tailored to your specific AI deployment. Now, if you already know HITRUST from a healthcare or compliance context, this is going to plug directly into your existing assessment infrastructure. You're not going to start over. You're simply extending what you've already built. For everyone else, there is one important number that tells a story on why HITRUST is getting involved. Less than 1% of HITRUST-certified environments reported a breach over the last 2 years. That's the assurance model simply working. And I've been through one of those before, so I know how this works. Now, here's how I think about the relationship between NIST and HITRUST. NIST tells you what to think about. HITRUST gives you a way to prove you've acted on it. That's to your customers, your board, your regulators, or your vendors. If you're running third-party risk, this changes your vendor questionnaire, that long document we all love. If you're a CISO, this is how you demonstrate AI security posture instead of just asserting on it. Two different tools with the same objective, turning governance from a policy on paper into something you can actually stand behind. So how does the cyber AI profile actually work inside of the CSF 2.0? Well, it maps directly into the 6 functions: govern, identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. Whew. Within each one, you get AI-specific considerations and a priority level that's high, moderate, or foundational. The priority system is honestly the most useful thing in the document, in my opinion, at this point, because it gives you a place to start when you can't tackle everything at once, which is, well, quite frankly, every organization all the time. There's one more thing you have to watch for. NIST is also building something called the control overlays for securing AI systems. This is going to map all of this to 853 controls. When that lands, it will absolutely become your technical implementation roadmap, and you should certainly keep an eye on it. Now, I do have one observation before I wrap this one up. The draft doesn't quite address agentic AI well enough yet. Systems where one AI is directing another, where hyperparameters are being set by the AI itself. That's where enterprise deployments are going, they're heading, or they're actually deployed right now. The current guidance doesn't fully get there. If you're already running multi-agent pipelines or autonomous AI workflows, you're really ahead of the framework. Now, that's not a reason to ignore it. That's actually an advantage, and it could be a competitive advantage. You're building the governance layer that NIST is going to codify. Just use that position. All right, there's 3 things you can do, and you can probably do them this week. First, pull the draft. That's NIST IR 8596. Start with the govern section. That's where accountability lives. Go ahead and map your AI inventory against secure, defend, and thwart. Where are you exposed? Where are you completely ungoverned? You have to figure out what don't you know. You need to get cross-functional alignment. This is not simply an AI problem. Legal, compliance, HR, executive leadership, they all need to be in this conversation before the incident, not after, believe me. Organizations that sit back and wait for binding regulation are going to find themselves woefully behind. And that's not just on compliance, but on the expectations that regulators, auditors, courts, even insurance companies, they're going to start looking and applying that backwards. Your time to move and evaluate this is now. Okay. In the next video, we're going to go back to the foundation. That's the NIST CSF 2.0. Specifically, we're going to talk about the govern function, and we'll get to everything else, but govern is the backbone that is included in everything the cyber AI profile builds on. If governance isn't right, none of the rest of this works. See you soon.